The Lakers were eliminated in the first round by the Nuggets, and now they're looking for a new head coach. Former Laker Byron Scott had an interesting opinion on LeBron James earlier today on Undisputed. Let's take a listen.
I got nothing but love and respect for LeBron. I love him. I think he's one of the greatest players that ever played this game. But it's obvious to me, at least, that he's making a lot of decisions that's going on in this organization.
No doubt.
From a coaching standpoint to a player standpoint. So if you're going to allow him to make those decisions, all right, sit on the bench and make those decisions as well. Be the head coach. As far as I'm concerned, the only person that he's going to really trust is himself. And since you're making a lot of these decisions anyway, why not put him in that seat?
Just to be clear, CBA rules state that an active player cannot be a player and a coach. But, Rick, what do you make of Byron Scott saying this about LeBron?
Number one, that's a former coach looking at other coaches who have been fired and saying, you know what, I'm going to speak up on their behalf. Because I feel like
it's the coaching brotherhood?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So speak up like, don't take this job?
They were treated unfairly. Not so much not take the job, but with whether it's Darvin Ham or Frank Vogel or any number of coaches, like, they're being the scapegoat here. And I think he feels that. Like, you know what? When you have a player like LeBron who is deciding who comes in and when they go and how things are done, and I would even say instances where we saw LeBron challenging Darvin Ham or dismissing what he was doing, not paying attention to, like, you can't have it both ways. So LeBron we have instances where LeBron appears like he's disengaged from what Darvin is asking him to do, and then when they fall short, it's Darvin Ham's fault that his game plan didn't work. I think that's what's behind Byron saying that. And I think there is another part here too, where if we're going to give LeBron as much praise as we do for when he wins, when his teams win, and when they're successful, then can't we be critical on some level? Is there not part of that goes to him when they fall short from where they're supposed to accomplish?
Well, I think this particular run, we all felt LeBron did as much as he could possibly do as LeBron at this age with this roster.
I agree with that. But then I think we need to ratchet down the expectation.
Well, I'm with you. I don't know what the expectations are supposed to be for this team, which is what makes this whole conversation difficult. I think that, obviously he's not going to be the player coach, but the insinuation is if you are a coach, you're not really making any calls anyway. So we might as well just let LeBron do everything. Obviously, that's not the case. And I still think that taking a job with the Lakers is still a good job. I think it's a great opportunity for someone who is an assistant who's never been a head coach. I don't think it devalues your ability to being able to say that you were the coach of the Lakers matters. And if you have any level of success, we can see that even though Darvin Ham was fired, he did take this roster to the Western Conference Finals. Even though Frank Vogel was fired, he did win a championship. You can say whatever you want about the bubble. He couldn't have done better that year than what he did.
It probably got him the Phoenix job.
For sure.
Right.
And what he did before he coming to the Lakers, for sure. Like, he has a very long resume, a longer resume than Darvin Ham. But yes, the ring does matter. You couldn't have done better that year. Whatever you think of that year, he did the best out of everyone that did anything that year. So to me, it's more about what is the actual goal for the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron at this point, and then also considering the fact that they're going to have Bronny next year.
Yeah.
What are the actual expectations? Because we can't keep saying that the expectation is that they win a championship. No. We can't keep saying that. Like, this is not a roster that's good enough to get out of the first round or even take it to 6 in the first round. And my question about it is, what would have kept Darvin Ham here? Winning another game in the first round? Yes. That's how low the bar has been set for the Lakers? That's confusing to me. But what do you think, Byron, what do you make of this, him saying this?
That's probably why he got fired as head coach, thinking like this. Listen, I get LeBron James is the superstar of the team, right? I understand that. He has invested a lot of time in the Lakers, right, and his league overall. I understand that part. But a coach like Tyronn Lue, right, I've heard different stories where they would get into it, not get into it in a negative way, but, hey, basically, I'm the coach. This is what I want to do. Yeah. I know you're the superstar. I know you have your own way of thinking, but this is what I want to do. I'm the coach. And you need that. And I think a superstar player will understand that. And there's enough room where we both could he can view his opinion because LeBron has that right. He's earned it, right? The things he's done in this league.
Right.
And give his input on different things, game plans, players. I understand that part. But you are the coach. You direct this thing. You the captain, right? Patrick Mahomes, I go to a different sport, but he gonna put his input on different things he wanna do. But the main one, the last voice in the room is Andy Reid. And you can do that thing together. Yeah. So I just hate when I hear these different things with LeBron James. It's an excuse. It's an excuse to me.
Yeah.
Do you think the Lakers underachieved? Do you think that the Lakers should have done more than they did?
I mean, looking at the series, when you see 2-game winners, sure, they probably could have won one more game, like Joy said, but what does that mean? Yeah. I think Darvin Ham did the best he could with this roster, and I think when it was time for his big-time players to deliver, his big-time players didn't deliver. D'Lo, you going 0 for 17. My man Anthony Davis, you 4 points in the fourth quarter. Like a lot of that ain't on him. So I think he did the best he could to get this team.
He did a good job,
resting them on all that type stuff. He got them this far.
So I think the heart of this, Joy, is the reason that Byron Scott is saying what he's doing subliminally is LeBron James and Anthony Davis got Darvin Ham fired, and it wasn't deserved because of what he did. Because otherwise, to your point, Joy, and you just asked it, what else was he supposed to do with this roster? And if that's the question, then why did he get fired?
Right. And what's the clock now? Because now we're in a rhythm, right?
Yeah.
Like you win a championship, have a down year, you get fired. Western Conference Finals, down year, you get fired. So this is not going to be a long-term situation for whoever they bring in here. And I would love Ty Lue, but Ty Lue isn't available. Yeah. Right. So it's like if you want to bring in somebody that LeBron can step toe-to-toe with, and battle in a positive way, the way that Andy Reid would with Patrick Mahomes, then you got to have somebody that has that cachet. And I don't think that person is either A, taking this job, or B, is available.
Yeah.
But not only that, like when I look at LeBron James, he has got coaches fired that won championships with him. He's got coaches fired that took him to Western Conference Finals. He's got coaches fired that he's been first-round exit. I think Byron Scott is talking like me. He's salty. Because you done got all these coaches fired. You done won championship with a coach. You didn't like what he was doing. This coach took you to the Western Conference Finals. You don't like what he doing. You coach. You bring in the next coach. And you not dribble the ball off your foot. And you get AD some shots, design some plays, and get the clipboard and get him the bucket. You help D'Lo make some shots. So I think Byron Scott is salty because why is all this going to Darvin Ham? And you done had the most turnovers in your career. Anthony Davis ain't helping us in the fourth quarter. D'Lo ain't helping us. He our third best player. What you want me to do? Well, I did my best.
I think you coach. It goes back also to we're not talking about the problem. LeBron may have had the most turnovers and all that, but we also think LeBron was playing at a pretty high level. Like, he was shooting very well. He was shooting the best that he shot from three-point. Like, LeBron, there wasn't a whole lot more you could ask from LeBron James at this point. You could certainly ask more from Anthony Davis based off of his fourth quarter performances. You can certainly ask more from D'Angelo Russell, and we can go down the line. Yeah. But when you go down the line, that's when I'm starting to ask these questions. Like, listen, what are we, Gordon Ramsay, what am I doing with these ingredients? Like, who here is cooking with this? And we can bring up Spoelstra, who, again, is unavailable. But even if you bring someone like Eric Spoelstra, who I think would give a lot of credit to his success also to the Godfather and Pat Riley and being able to put together these rosters and identify these young players that fit within their system and develop them, which I do not think the Lakers do at a very high level. Mm-hmm. He didn't win a championship with his team that everyone felt like was lesser than. They got there, but they didn't win a championship. So what is the bar? Is it getting to the championship? It can't be getting to the Western Conference Finals because you just fired Darvin Ham. It can't be winning a championship in the bubble because you fired Frank Vogel. So what is the expectation, particularly with this roster? And does anyone think this roster is good enough to win?
I do though. If you really watch the games, right? I think the roster is like the easy way out. But if you watch, they were leading. Look at the time of who was winning the games. They were. Mm-hmm. They don't just happen as a mistake, right? And the times that they trailed was way less than the times that we're winning. Mm-hmm. And then if you look at all these games, look at the game plans, right? We talk about Jamal Murray, how good he is, right? Hit the game winners a couple times. Yeah. Cool. I like that. Good player. A lot of them games he was locked up.
Yeah.
Ham had a great defensive game plan for him. Mm. You talk about Anthony Davis, the way he played on Jokic. A lot of them games, he played very, very well. Fourth quarter changed up, but that's the same thing with AD. Why is it that the Lakers played so well in all these games, but in the fourth quarter they collapsed?
I have a question.
Is that always on the coach?
Because I felt that way too.
Okay.
But now I've watched the Nuggets.
Thank you.
In 2 games, play the exact same way they played against the Lakers, which is start extremely slow. Only the difference is the team they're playing now is way better than the Lakers. So they're not only taking advantage of the fact that the Nuggets are starting slow, like they did against the Lakers, which is part of the reason why I think the Lakers led for 70% of the series, and they didn't close. The difference is the closing, because the Nuggets are playing the same way in this series. The difference is they're losing now. So that's why, again, go back to the roster, because they were close. They were in those games, and maybe it would have made a difference. Say Jamal Murray misses one of those game winners, right?
Well, let's say this makes him. Let me say it makes him. What I'm saying is, you talk about the Timberwolves, correct?
Yeah.
So we're going to take away the defense. Defense part, they just playing phenomenal defense. But on the offensive side, Ant-Man is giving you the same energy and tempo in the first half and the second half. Karl Anthony Towns, right? He give you the same energy offensively on the first half. He's on the second half.
I agree.
The Lakers, they didn't do that. AD in the first half looks like 2 different people in the second half.
But whose fault is that, though?
AD.
It's the coach's fault?
No, I agree it's AD's fault. But that's what I'm saying. Like, what is a new coach going to do?
That's all I'm saying. When you talk about, like, the roster part, I like the Lakers roster, right? I might do some different things, maybe switch out certain little guys here and there, but overall, the roster, they did go to the Western Conference Finals last year. They did do that.
They did do that.
And then this year, bro, the defending champs, you was beating them majority of the time you played them.
Okay, but look, the Denver Nuggets had a big hand in the fact that the Lakers were leading for as much as they were in those games.
Why is that?
Because the Denver Nuggets weren't playing their best. The Denver Nuggets, after beating them 8, 9 times in a row, were like, look, we're trying to win a championship. We don't have to win this in the first quarter. We don't have to win it in the second quarter. We know we can get these boys at the end when we need to. Okay. We will wait until the fourth quarter and then go win this game. They did it for the better part of this season in a lot of games. They weren't blowing teams out. They would. I watched them night after night where I'm like, okay, they just know that they can turn it on at the end and they're going to win. And you create bad habits when you're doing that, and that can catch up with you. But I think that it's really a misconception that the Lakers were winning and couldn't hold on to the game. I think the Denver Nuggets were just laying low and waiting and taking over at the end.
So what about AD? And I can hear that.
And here's the other
that
thing.
Might be true.
Here's the other thing with AD.
Okay.
You're saying, like, why can't AD play both halves the same way, right?
Shots.
Go ahead.
When has he ever?
Man,
He is the same.
But see, that's the excuse.
He's the same dude he's always been.
Listen, I'm not even saying you got to score, but you're not even shooting the ball. You're not even shooting the ball.
But he has been that for the better part of his career.
But that's the problem, too, though, because then you get up there and you get up on this podium and you say, oh, we don't know what we're doing out there.
I'm with you.
And that's the thing. So for me, like Shady brought up a really good point. Andy Reid has the final say. Patrick Mahomes may have a little input in there, but this is the only difference, though. If Patrick Mahomes is in the locker room like, man, I don't know what Andy Reid doing. You know who that's going to funnel down to? The youngsters.
That ain't happening.
The people that... So, Bron and AD, that's all y'all been doing. So that's going to funnel down to the youngsters. So now, oh, he don't know what he doing. And then now that's how your team playing. But if Patty like, bruh, this is what Andy said, bruh. Make it, let's do it. And if we do it right here, give us another player something. That's leadership. Bron and them don't never do that. It's always somebody. We ain't prepared. You ain't took no shots, scored no buckets. You dribbling the ball off your foot, LeBron. Prepare for what?
Preach. He ain't lying.
Man.
Y'all ain't gonna lie to real talk. Lakers, if they need a head coach, he right there. Get James Harden ready to go. You hear me?
He's gonna give a speech now.
Putting people on the bench.
You think he want to play?
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.